Hello, good afternoon. Hi, everyone. We already have 53 people here. My name is Lisandro Terencia. I'm the Regional Director for British Council EnglishScore. Here with me is Joe Dale. He's the person in charge of today's webinar. Thank you, Joe, for being there. So the rest, I see the list is populating. If you like, you can use the chat, and we would really like it. You can use the chat just to say who you are, where you are from, or a quick hello, right? We're going to give 2-3 minutes to the rest of the people so they just log in, and then we're going to launch it. We're really looking forward to running this session. Joe has prepared tons of great concepts and materials for you, so I know you're going to enjoy it. Hey, Bogota, Mexico, Brazil, lovely. Argentina, hi, Laura. So this is very, very Latin America, right? This is great. And we're going to give this a couple of minutes because we have more than 500 people enrolled. So it's looking good. Hello, Peru. The numbers are going up. So let's just give it some time. In the meantime, just quick note for you to know about this. If you happen to have any questions, you have the section down here that says Q&A for questions and answers. You can use that section to write any questions at any point. And by the end of the webinar, we're going to read them out loud so Joe can actually go after them, go through them. And the main goal is that we're going to do it in the end so we don't disrupt the order of the content and the webinar. One person there is already shooting questions on the chat, which is how long is this? I believe it's the webinar, it just passed by. It's going to be an hour and a half tops. So we think we're going to have that time to actually run it and complete it. Let's give it some time. It's already 3 past. Joe, if you think 1 more minute and we launch it.
Yeah, maybe 1 more minute. I was going to say as well, for those people in the chat, that's brilliant. But can you make sure that you click on the drop-down menu and you choose the everyone option, not hosts and panelists, if you want everyone to see your messages? That'd be great. Thank you.
Exactly. Good point.
It's really lovely to see so many people. It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Karina, you have your hand raised. It's a question. If you have a question, will I get a certificate of participation from us? Is that a question? I believe it's a question. Yeah, we do have certificates of participation. That's a good thing. So you can always use them and keep track of the webinars that you have attended to. So I think being 4 past, we should get started. So thank you for all the ones who've been here on time, for the ones that are still getting into the Zoom session. We're really looking forward to delivering it. It's great to have Joe here today. It's great to have such a big amount of people from different countries in Latin America. I'm really happy to have you here. The webinar today, as you can read on this slide, is adapting new technologies to empower English language teaching, learning, and assessment. Joe is going to be delivering it. I'm going to introduce Joe in a second, but I'm really happy to have you here on behalf of British Council EnglishScore and our Latin American team. So Joe, please, if you can go to the next slide. Thank you. As you can see here, there's 2 of us, plus Martina. Martina, she is our regional marketing manager. And my name is Lisandro Terencia. I'm the regional director for Latin America for British Council EnglishScore. They've been involved in the ELT and assessment industry for over 20 years, working previously for English schools and assessment bodies like Cambridge. I have the pleasure to introduce you and to introduce Joe Dale. He's our speaker. He's an independent language consultant from the UK who works with a range of organizations such as Network for Languages, British Council, the BBC, Skype, Microsoft, and The Guardian. And he's also a regular conference speaker and recognized expert on technology and language learning. I did my research, my Googling, and I checked on Joe's background, and I have to say it's impressive. So I'm really happy and really glad to be able to introduce him to all of you. so you can really take advantage of such an expert on this type of matters. Joe, next slide. This is the agenda for today, the introduction that just passed. Joe is going to be going through several sections related to English learning, teaching, and assessment, like listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and also how that is adapted to assessments, mainly linked to technology and AI, and how this is actually having an impact on each one of these sections. So please remember there's a Q&A section down here on the line, on the row, where you can click and post any questions you have. When we are in the Q&A section by the end of the webinar, we're going to read those questions and Joe is going to get back to you. So having that said, Joe, it's all yours. Thank you very much, and hope everybody enjoys this. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Alessandro, for that lovely introduction. Thank you so much as well to British Council EnglishScore for this opportunity. I'm delighted. There are so many people joining us today. We've got nearly 200 people in Zoom right now. We've also got people watching on YouTube as well. And we are recording the session so you can watch it back as many times as you need to, which is just fantastic. If I give you a little bit more background about myself before I start, if that's okay. I was a languages teacher for 13 years. I taught French for 3 years at secondary school level and then 10 years at middle school level, working with 9 to 13-year-olds. So I've got upper primary and secondary school experience. I've also spoken at the IATEFL conference many times over the years, starting from 2013. And I've also been in charge of different courses for the young people's courses for pilgrims, starting from the mid-90s until the early 2000s. So I've got different connections with different sides of ELT, and all the examples I'm going to be showing you today are around how we can use digital tools, digital technology, and in particular AI tools for promoting all 4 skills. We have a lot of content to go through, and I feel that, there's no point me rushing the content. I'm going to try and show you very practical ideas throughout the session. It is 90 minutes long, so we do have plenty of time. If you want to put questions in the Q&A, that's fantastic. I do have the chat open as well. So if you want to write things in the chat, and I can answer them there and then, I will try and do so. But I'm sure everyone appreciates there are a lot of people in the room right now. And so if we get too many questions all in one go, then we'll have to just look at the meatier questions a bit later on towards the end. So I thought I would divide the presentation into different skills, as you can see on the screen, and we're going to now make a start. So hopefully that's giving you a nice little introduction. When we're talking about AI, artificial intelligence, I think it's helpful to give a little bit of introduction behind what we actually mean by tools like ChatGPT, for example, which I'm going to be demonstrating a lot in this session. So ChatGPT is a tool which is owned by OpenAI, which is an American company, and it launched officially in November 2022. It uses what's called natural language processing, which essentially allows you to communicate with it as if it's a human being, which is amazing. It's based on what's called a large language model. That term has been around since the 60s. And the way that large language models work is they are fed information from the internet and other places. With ChatGPT, what OpenAI did is they publicly scraped huge amounts of information, data, and then fed that into ChatGPT, so that when you ask ChatGPT a question or put in a prompt, as one says, it will then analyze its database with all the content that's been fed into it, and then try and give you an answer based on patterns that it recognizes in human interaction. So that's essentially how it works. A little bit like autocorrect, but on a whole new level. And from the point of view of creating language resources, I think it's brilliant for creating a whole range of different types of text, some of the examples of which I'm going to be showing you a bit later on. It's also very good for things like summarizing, paraphrasing, putting text into bullet points, and a whole range of other things as well. So in today's session, it's going to be very practical. I'm going to be showing you some live examples of exactly what we can do and exploring not only AI tools, but some other tools as well, some digital tools or ways in which you can harness well-known digital tools, but using AI as well. So that's the idea. So to begin with, we're looking at listening, and we're going to look at 3 different ideas: Edpuzzle, Flippity, Manipulatives, and Immersive Reader. So to begin with, I'm going to come out of here of my slideshow, and I'm going to go to a YouTube clip, which I've got open here. Now, this one is called Little Red Riding Hood. And what I've done here is what I'm going to do here, should I say, is I'm going to click on these 3 dots here, and it says show transcript. I've actually got the transcript here already because I've loaded this up already. But what you do is you click on the 3 dots and it says show transcript. And the reason that you want to do that is because you can take that transcript, you can go to the bottom of the transcript like this, and then I can then literally just select the whole thing like this up to the top, and I can copy it. Now, if I now right-click this and click copy, I can then go into ChatGPT, which I've got here, and I can right-click here, and I can go to what's called Canned Replies. Now, Canned Replies is a Chrome extension, which I've got installed, which I've got here. And this is a Chrome extension which allows you to make a list of different prompts that you can use. To give you an idea what this looks like in reality, if you go to here, because I have the Chrome extension installed, I've clicked on the little jigsaw piece, and I've clicked the pin next to this Chrome extension, which means it's now appearing in my extensions bar. I can now click on the little plus icon here, and this will then show me this options page. And as you can see, we've got a whole range of different types of prompt, which are here. So what you do is you put in the title of the prompt, and then you write the prompt in here. And if you enable the extension in the Chrome Web Store, it means that you can enable the right-click function, which is what I've done. I'm just going to close this now. So I can go to here, I can right-click here, and I can click Canned Replies, and I've got all the different prompts that I would like to use. So the one I'm going to show you today, right now, is this one, which I've called Edpuzzle Transcript and Question Generator. So I click on that, I then press Enter, like this, and that should now, there we are, that's now posting this into...
Of course, please provide me with the YouTube transcript along with the timestamps, so I can help you create the table and the subsequent questions and answers as you've described.
Okay, and I'm not sure if you could hear that, but what I've done is I have, let me just get rid of that. What I've done is I had the loudspeaker icon enabled. I'm just going to change this to English UK, and I'm going to paste in the transcript. So there's the transcript. I'm going to explain about this other extension, which I was using just then. But first of all, there we are. Can you see? It says, here's the table with the requested information. So I've got... it says question 1 down to question 10. I've got the correct answer, and I've got the timestamp. So what ChatGPT has done is it's looked at the transcript, which I have put into it. It's looking at the timestamps, and it's giving me the correct answer. It hasn't actually written the question, which is what I wanted, but that's okay. I've got the questions here instead. So you can see that it's saying, after 25 seconds, the question is, who is the main character of the story? It's saying, is it Little Red Riding Hood, Grandma, Big Bad Wolf, or the Woodsman? And the answer is Little Red Riding Hood. So that's what you would then put into the tool we're going to use now, which is called Edpuzzle. So in YouTube, like this, I'm going to click here, which is the Edpuzzle extension. So to show you what I mean, if I go back to here, and I go to here, and I put in Edpuzzle. If you don't know about Edpuzzle, it's a tool which allows you to turn YouTube clips and other clips on other platforms into listening comprehension activities. So I've got the Edpuzzle extension installed, which means all I have to do is click here. So it will then appear underneath any YouTube clip, and it will now launch Edpuzzle. You need to be logged into Edpuzzle, and you need to click here where it says questions. Okay. Then what we do is we look back at what ChatGPT has generated, and it's saying after 25 seconds, we're going to have the question, who is the main character of the story? So let me go back to Edpuzzle, which is here, and press play, and then we'll just wait.
Gigabox!
This is the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a village near a big forest. Her grandmother had made her a beautiful red cloak with a big red hood, which she wore every time she went outside. And so everyone in the village called her Little Red Riding Hood.
Okay, so I've got that as 38 seconds. Let's go back here. So the question is, who is the main character of the story? So it says that you can guess it after 25 seconds, or maybe the second question is 31 seconds. Let's just check. What did Little Red Riding Hood wear every time she went outside? Okay, so I would suggest that actually we want to ask that question after 38 seconds, because that's the first time that Little Red Riding Hood is mentioned within the video, as opposed to the title of the video. So what I would then do is in Edpuzzle, I would click, having got to that point, I then click multiple choice question, and I then copy the question which comes up, which is here. Who is the main character of the story? Okay, so by using the timestamp, it's going to save you time, although it's not always very, very accurate in the exact timing of it, but you get the idea. I'm then going to put in the correct answer, which is Little Red Riding Hood. But I think it's quite clever being able to use the transcript as a way of getting ChatGPT to generate the different questions. Now, I could put in all the distractors, but I'm not going to do that because that would take too much time. I'm just going to do one of them, and then I'm going to click here. Can you see? So I've now told Edpuzzle which is the correct answer. So it's Little Red Riding Hood, and I now click save.
One day.
There we are. And then I would then carry on with the rest of the questions in order to carry on and finish the activity in Edpuzzle. So if you're not familiar with Edpuzzle, I would go onto YouTube and have a look at different tutorials, but using the transcript in YouTube and generating the questions using ChatGPT, I think is a great time saver for listening comprehension practice. Okay. Now, don't forget as well, I know people have said about, can I slow down a bit, etc. Don't forget, we are recording this, so you'll be able to watch it back as many times as you need to. So just to be really clear, what I've done is in YouTube, I've clicked on the three dots and I've clicked on show transcript, which is here. I've copied the transcript. I've put it into ChatGPT. I've added in my prompt, which you had earlier at the top, but you could make up your own prompt around this and just ask it to create a table with the different questions, the correct answer, and the timestamp. And it is able to do that. It's able to analyze the transcript, give you that information in a table, and then you can then use the Edpuzzle extension so that you can then click on that here underneath each YouTube clip. When you've got this installed, it will then take you to the Edpuzzle page. You click on questions, you then press play, and you get to where the first question is around the place where it's supposed to be, which is what I did. It said, I think, 25 seconds, but I thought actually it was better to have the question after 38 seconds. I then pressed pause, and that's when I asked the multiple choice question. You would then click, you then add more questions, and then when you finished all the questions, you click finish. And then you can then share the link with the students and they can then do the activity. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing about how to use Edpuzzle because that would take too much time, but it's just giving you an idea on how you can use ChatGPT to generate questions based on the transcript from YouTube as a way of practicing listening. Okay, so that's the first idea. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at flippity manipulatives. Thanks ever so much for the nice comments as well. We're now going to look at flippity manipulatives. So for those people that don't know what flippity is, it's a free tool which is fantastic. It gives you access to up to, I think it's 28 different exercise types like this. And I'm not going to show you all of these today, but I'm going to do a few of them. The one I'm going to focus on today around listening is this one called flippity manipulatives. So what you do is you click on the instructions option here. And this then comes up. And then here, I could then get rid of this content in the white box. And I could then write something such as last week, new line, I went, new line, to Dublin. The reason I've written Dublin is because I've been going to Dublin regularly doing face-to-face training on the effective use of digital technology. Now, if I now click here, generate, what it's going to do is it's going to create a new page like this, and you can see that the tiles are in the wrong order. So the idea is you would then put them into the right order like this. Now, how does that affect listening? So what you can do, if I go back to here and I press here, it so happens I've got Vocaroo all ready to go here. If you don't know Vocaroo, it's a fantastic free tool which allows you to record audio for as long as you want to. It's stored up to 1 year. It generates a link automatically, and you can use it for, the students can use it for practicing presentations, or as teachers, you can use it for giving audio feedback. So let me show you an example. So I'm going to now record myself saying what I've written in this white box here. So last week, I went to Dublin. Okay, so I've done that. I then click Save and Share, and I click the copy link here, like that. And then I go to a new line, and I paste in the link like that, and I click Generate. Okay, now, as a result of that, I've now got the audio like this, and I've got the items here. So I can now press play. Last week, I went to Dublin. Okay, it so happens they're in the right order anyway, but if I were to refresh the page, they'd be in a different order. So this is a way of practicing listening. This is just a simple idea. But what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to close this, and I'm going to show you another way of doing the same thing. So this time I'm going to use ChatGPT. So I'm going to go to here. I'm going to go to a new chat, and I'm going to right click, canned replies, and I'm going to bring up the one that says flippity manipulatives. Okay. And what it's going to do is it's going to give me, hopefully, a whole, okay, I was thinking it was going to give me a whole range of different sentences, which it hasn't done. So let me just click regenerate. Sometimes, okay, that's it. Why is it only giving me one sentence? Okay, let me just do this manually. So I'm going to use this extension here, which is called voice control for ChatGPT, which is wonderful because what it allows you to do is it allows you to use your voice as a prompt. If you have the iOS or Android app, the official one from OpenAI, that also allows you to use your voice. But this is a great way of using your voice live within ChatGPT. So when you've enabled it, the microphone appears here, and you can choose from a range of languages as well. So for example, I'm going to do the following. I'd like you to create 5 sentences, but with different elements, such as opinions or conjunctions. Okay, so let's see. No, it's still only giving me that. Okay, I'm just going to try. Sometimes it sort of gets stuck in a loop. So I'm going to go to a new chat and try again, flippity manipulatives. And let's see what it does this time. Okay, so that's fine. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put it into Flippity, but I'm just going to change this manually because otherwise we'll be here all day. So let's put in, they arrived in Dublin. Okay, new line. They explored the city, new line. They saw historic sites. They ate Irish food. They enjoyed lively music. So you get the idea. This is what I was trying to produce, and ChatGPT was sort of letting me down a little bit, but that's okay. I've done it manually, which is fine. It's given me the inspiration I wanted. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to record myself saying these different lines like this. They arrived in Dublin. Okay, I've recorded that. I click copy. I then put this underneath like this. Okay, new line. They explored the city. Okay, copy, new line. They saw historic sites. Save and share, copy, new line. They ate Irish food. Save and share, copy. I'll just get rid of that comma there. New line. Last but not least, they enjoyed lively music. Save and share. And we'll just put it for the last one. So what I'm doing now is I'm making an activity which is more, it's got more listening content into it. So that's all good. That all looks fine to me. So then I click generate like this, and I go full screen. Okay, so you can see now, all I have to do is I can now just line up these different players like this. And this is a simple example, but I could make this, it could include more structures or harder activities, sentences. So let me just see if I can do this quickly live. Here we go. So they arrived in Dublin. Okay, so that's there. They arrived. There we are. So it's they arrived in Dublin. Okay, next one. They explored the city. Explored the city, which is there. They ate Irish food. They ate Irish food. They saw historic sites. They saw historic sites. And last but not least, they enjoyed lively music. Okay, they enjoyed lively music. So hopefully that's clear on how they can do that. Now, as a student, they'd have to then provide evidence of what they've done. So one thing you could do is use a tool like Snip and Sketch, which comes bundled with Windows. So you could click here. This is called Snip and Sketch. If you click New, you can then drag over the screen like that. It will then appear like this, and then you can click Save and save that to your desktop, for example, and then upload that into a tool like Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams or any learning management system that you're doing as a student, and then the teacher could then mark it. There's also a really nice Chrome extension, which I've got here, which is called Quick Share Screenshot. In fact, let me show you this quickly. If I go here, it's called Quick Share Screenshot. Okay. And this is by a lady called Alice Keeler from the States. And what it does is, as soon as you install it, it creates a folder in your Google Drive, also called Quick Share Screenshot. And when you take a screenshot, it uploads into that folder, and it copies the link to where that screenshot is straight to your clipboard. The only thing you have to do is, once you've uploaded it into Google Drive, or the first time that you add the extension, you have to go to that folder, right-click it, and click Get Link, and then change the permissions from restricted to anyone with the link. So if I go back to where I was just a moment ago, there we are. If I now click on the extension, which I've got here, and I click Take Partial Screen, like that, and then I drag over this like that, can you see? It's now uploading onto into Google Drive, and it's now copied the link to my clipboard, which means I could, for example, paste it into the chat right now, like that, or I could go back to my presentation and I could, let's see if I can just paste it here. There we are. Can you see? It's now just pasted here. And I could now move that down a little bit like this. Okay. And if I now go to the end and I press, sorry, let's do that again. If I go to the link like that, I think that's, I'm not sure if that's worked actually. Let me do that again. Hang on. Let me, there we are. If I now paste in the link, there we are, and then press enter, there we are. If I now click on this, yeah, can you see it's worked? So if I click here, it's now showing me the screenshot that I've just taken. So it's a really useful tool for sharing any sort of image with the teacher as a student or vice versa. So it's called Quick Share Screenshot, and you just need to make sure that you have the permissions enabled so that you can access the link that you share. Yeah. Perfect. So that was Flippity Manipulatives for practicing listening. So let me just close some of these tabs. Otherwise, I'm going to have far too many tabs open. But I hope that's nice and clear on what I was doing there. And we'll close Little Red Riding Hood and Edpuzzle as well. And we'll go back to my presentation. Okay, next one, Immersive Reader. Right. Now, here, I'm going to show you in the Chrome Web Store, I've got a website, a Chrome extension called Use Immersive Reader on websites. Okay. So let me just see if I can find it. If I click more extensions, it should then show. Yeah, it's not this one. It is this one here. Use Immersive Reader on websites. Now, if you don't know what Immersive Reader is, it's a tool which comes bundled with Microsoft tools such as Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Class Notebook. It comes with Wakelet as well, and tools like Flip. And it's really, really useful. But you can use this extension in Chrome called Use Immersive Reader on websites. You can also use Chrome extensions in Edge as well if you want to. So I've already installed this. So what you do is you could go to any website and you could select the text and get Immersive Reader to then do the activities that it does, which I'm going to show in a second. But I'm going to just do this live in here in ChatGPT. So this time I'm going to use the voice control for ChatGPT option, such as this. Okay, so could you please write me 100-word text about the morning routine of Mickey Mouse? Could you make the level of text around A1, please? And could you make the text funny? Okay, we'll see what ChatGPT thinks is funny. Okay, so we've got the text here, and I'm not sure if it's understood what I mean by A1, obviously the CEFR levels, but you get the idea. If I wanted to, I could click regenerate and I could ask it to have another go. Yeah, let's go with that version. Okay, so I'm now going to take that text. So it might be that you feel that it's not, for example, A1, but it's a great way of producing a text. And then from there, you can then think about how you want to make that better or change it as a professional. So that's great. So now what I've done is I have selected that text. I'm going to right click it. And because I have this Use Immersive Reader on websites extension installed, you can see that I've got this option here that says, help me read this. Okay, help me read this. So that's because I have this extension installed. So if I now click on that, what it's going to do is it's going to launch Immersive Reader. So if you haven't seen this before, then this is how it works. So it should recognize the language immediately. And all I have to do is press play, and you should then be able to have a listen to what it sounds like. Here we go.
Mickey Mouse wakes up with a yawn and a stretch. His alarm clock, shaped like his friend Goofy, rings with a silly tune,
etc. Now I can click on the voice settings, and you can see that you can choose a male or female voice. I can change it to male, and I can also change the speed as well. And I can click play like this.
Tune. Mickey hops out of bed and slips on his giant yellow shoes.
So that's obviously slower. And then if I want to go even slower than that, I can do that. But it does sound a bit strange like this.
Shoes. He brushes his teeth with a toothbrush that...
Okay. But in general, I think this is a very nice tool for giving you a model of pronunciation. So to boost the student agency that your students have, giving them more independence in their listen comprehension practice, and they can listen as many times as they want to that nice model of pronunciation. In addition to that, you can click up here, and you've got these 3 different items. If I click here under text preferences, I can do a few things. I can change the text size, for example, like this. Okay, I can change the spacing like this. So for some dyslexic readers, they might find it very useful to have more of a space between different lines. Otherwise, they might find that if the lines are too close together, that the text is moving on the screen or swimming on the screen in front of them. You can change the font as well, like this. You can also change the background color. You've got 6 there by default. If you click here, you can have access to more. If you, for example, wanted to click yellow, you could have a yellow background or a blue background or a green background, and so on and so forth. So that's Really, really nice. I can see in the chat I've been asked whether I'm using the pro version of ChatGPT. Yes, I am, or the plus version as it's called. But everything I've been showing you would work in the free version, including all the extensions and what have you. It's just that you can't always guarantee that you'll be able to get access to the free version of ChatGPT. So that's all fine. Yeah. So the next thing I'm going to do is click here where it says grammar options like this, and you can enable the different parts of speech through color coding. So as a result of this, all the nouns are now in purple, all the verbs in red, all the adjectives in green, and the adverbs are in that sort of browny gold color. I can also enable the labels, which means above different words like mouse, it has N for noun, N for toothbrush. Let's have a look. So it's got V for tries, for example, and so on and so forth. Good for adjective. And I can then click on the syllables as well, which can help with pronunciation, such as breakfast or girlfriend and what have you. So that's also really good from a ELT point of view of breaking down the text into different parts of speech. And then you've also got this option here, which is the reading preferences. And here you can, for example, enable line focus. And what that does is it allows you to read the text line by line with that sort of black border above and below like this.
That dances around the sink. Minnie Mouse, his giggly girlfriend, sends him a good morning,
etc. So that's really nice as well. You can change the line focus to 3 lines at a time if you want to, or just have no line focus at all. You've also got the picture dictionary enabled. So if I click on the word like kitchen, then you've got some images which help understand the words. If I click on dog, likewise. If I click on pancakes, let's see if pancakes is there. Yeah, pancakes is there. Or heads. So here it says Mickey heads to the kitchen. So it doesn't mean heads, and as in this sort of heads, it means goes. But so there we are. So that's interesting as well. And if I click here, I can also enable the translate feature. So I could, for example, choose, let's say, if I choose Spanish, which is going to be down here. There we are, Spanish Latin America, or Spanish. Let's choose Spanish Mexico. Okay. And let's choose kitchen. And now we've got cocina.
cocina,
And cocina, there we are. And you've got different pronunciation as well, like this.
kitchen,
Okay. Let's try pancakes.
panqueques,
I don't know if that's good or not. It's a good translation.
panqueques,
Or,
desayuno,
okay, etc., etc. Or,
perro,
okay, so you've got the Spanish translation, the pronunciation, and the English original, plus the loudspeaker for both as well. Okay.
dog,
Okay. There we are. So you said, what about clicking heads? Can you clarify what you mean, Magdalena? I'm not sure what you mean by what about clicking heads. Oh, I see. You mean just like literally the word. You mean this one? Let's try that. So yeah, so that's obviously the wrong word. It's giving you the word carrot, because I did do 6 years of Spanish at school a long time ago now. So that's obviously the Spanish for head, but that's not what it means here, because it means goes to the kitchen. Okay. And then if you really wanted to, you can actually translate the whole document like that as well. In the official version from Microsoft, in Word and in other tools such as Microsoft Lens, which also has Immersive Reader built in, you have a new feature called Reading Coach. And what happens is the player turns into a microphone, and you can actually record yourself reading the text, and it will then give you tips on words you need to work on for your pronunciation, but that's not part of the Chrome extension. Okay, so that's Immersive Reader in conjunction with ChatGPT. Okay, so let's carry on, and let me go now to speaking. Okay, so the first tool we're going to have a look at in speaking, I'll just see if there's any question before we move on, is Audio Pen. So are these options for students, or are they for teachers to manipulate? Great question from Hector. So anyone who has access to that Immersive Reader Chrome extension, if you can install it on your laptop or Mac or Chromebook, etc., then you get access to the same features. So it's not being managed by anybody. It is what it is. It has the features available to anyone that's using it. Okay, I'm now going to show you Audio Pen, which I'm a big fan of. If you haven't heard of this, I think you'll really like it. It's called audiopen.ai, And you can even use it without being logged in, although I will show you what the Prime features are with this, or the paid for version, as it were. So I'm not even logged in now, and I'm just going to show you how it works. Okay, so AudioPen is a free tool, or has a free tier. The website is called audiopen.ai, and it allows you to talk about your unstructured thoughts and then turn them into automatically a nice, concise summary using AI. So this is a great tool for note-taking. For example, if you've had a meeting with a colleague, or a meeting with a parent, or maybe you're thinking about next week's lesson plan and you want to make some quick notes, you can just speak into AudioPen and it will make a summary. In the free version, even without having an account, you can record up to 3 minutes at a time, which is actually quite a long time. If you are making a note, there's a lot you can do in 3 minutes. And you can, once you've created an account, if you want to, then what you can do is you can then make up to 10 notes, but you can always copy the results that you have made once it's finished summarizing what you've done. And you can then paste that into another place, such as a Google Doc or a Word document or whatever it is that you want to use. So just a great way of being able to practice you're turning your thoughts into a concise summary. Now, once you've created an account, you'll see that even in the free version, you can change the input language and the output language. So you could, for example, be speaking in another language, such as French or Spanish or what have you. There's a whole range of different languages, and you can choose your input and your output language. So in other words, you could be speaking in English and you could be outputting in Spanish, or vice versa, or you could be speaking in Spanish and outputting in Spanish, or speaking in English and outputting it in English. Not only do you get the summary, you also get the original transcript as well, but with all the ums and ahs removed. So one thing you could do is you could ask the students to compare the transcript with the summary and see if they can decide on what the AI has done to summarize it, what it's removed and what it's added to make the summary what it is based on the transcript. So it's really, really fantastic. And if you haven't heard of it, I'm sure you're going to enjoy having a play with it. So I'm going to stop talking now, and then we'll give it a moment to make a summary like this. Okay, so it's now uploading the content. It's transcribing what I've said, and it's going to make the summary in a second. It's going to come up with the title automatically based on what I was saying, and then it's going to generate the content in a moment. Now, once it's done that, I can then show you the original transcript that it's going to create, and I can rewrite it as well in a different language if I want to. I can show you how to do that as well. But don't forget, I'm doing this without being logged in at the moment. So in a second, I will log in, and then I'll show you the other options as a Prime user. There we are. Can you see? So it's giving me the title automatically. It's summarized what I've said. It's given me the original transcript like this. So I can click on that, and then you can see that's everything that I was saying. But this is the nice sort of cleaned up summary version. So I can see Robert saying, can we define how long we want the summary to be? Yes, you can in the full version, in the Prime version. I'm not sure if you can in the free version. I can have a look at that for you in a second. So I could now copy this like that, and I can paste it for the benefit of people watching live. I'm pasting this into the chat right now. And so people can then have a quick look at that. If I click save, I can then save that to my account. It will ask me to log in. Can you see it's asking me to log in now, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sign in with my Google account like this, and then I'll show you some other options. So that means that by signing in, it will keep my note as part of my collection of different notes like this. And I can do other things with it as well. I can ask it to re-summarize, change it around a bit, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, there it is. There's my note. Sorry, that's not actually my I'm not sure why that hasn't appeared, but never mind, it's all good. Anyway, it doesn't seem to have saved the note, but if you were to log in, it absolutely would save the note, but you could just copy and paste it without having an account. So let me show you some of the other features. If I click here like this, this is where you change the input language and the output language. So for example, if I click here and I change this to something else, Now, if my Spanish was good enough, I would try and do it in Spanish, but I don't really think it is. So I'm going to choose French instead. Hopefully you'll forgive me. And I'm going to choose French as the output like this. In fact, now what I could do is I could change that to, let's choose Spanish instead. Let's see if I can find the Spanish. It doesn't have Latin American Spanish. It just has standard Spanish, as it were, or Spanish from Spain, I presume. The person that asked me about the summary length, you can choose output length to summaries would be longer and more detailed. You can have the medium length, or you can have short and crisp like that. You can also choose different styles. Again, this is in the premium version. So I really like the bulleted list option, which is here. That's the one I always select. But you can choose other styles as well if you want to. And there's a few other features here, but those are the main ones. You can also even create an image from the text that it produces if you really want to as well. So now I'm going to try and speak in French, and it will then make a summary in Spanish. Here we go. Alors maintenant, je parle en français. Et comme vous voyez, j'ai 15 minutes pour parler parce que j'ai la version première. Alors, c'est pour ça que je peux parler pendant 15 minutes si je veux. Alors, je parle en français et ça va créer un texte en espagnol, j'espère. On va voir. Okay, so I basically just said, now I'm speaking in French. And as you can see, with the Prime version, I can speak for up to 15 minutes per note. I can make unlimited notes if I want to. And it will now hopefully make a summary of what I said, and it's going to put this into bullet points because that's what I've chosen. So that is a premium feature. There we are. Can you see? It's now turned this into Spanish, and it's done a very good job. In the Prime version as well, I can download the audio as long as I do that at least no longer than, I think, 15 minutes after I've recorded it. Otherwise, the audio is deleted. I can delete it from here. I can save this as an image if I wanted to. I can copy it. I can save it to my account. If I do that right now, or if I click on here, that's the original transcription. I can click here to save like that. And here it is here. You've got also these little circles here, which allow you to make what are called super summaries, which I'm not going to do right now, but I could if I wanted. If I had lots of notes around the same topic, for example, if I was planning a trip, I could select them all and then make a super summary. You can even upload your own audio as well. To do that, you're limited to 25 megabytes. It's not really what the tool is designed for, but it is a possibility in the Prime version as well. So in the free version, you can record 10 notes, but you can always delete them and just make new ones. So it's a maximum of 10 notes of the limit, but you can always copy the content, delete it, and then just paste that somewhere else, and then keep using the pen forever if you want to. And you can choose the input language and the output language, even in the free version as well. So it's really, really good, I think. So as a student tool, they could use it for practicing their pronunciation, for comparing the transcript to the summary, and making decisions about how the AI had affected what they said and how it changed it accordingly. So hopefully that's nice and clear on how Audio Pen works. On my YouTube channel, which is available at Joe Dale, should I say, youtube.com/@Joe Dale. I've actually done an interview with the creator of Audio Pen, whose name is Luis Pereira, and we did it over StreamYard. The recording's on my YouTube channel, so have a look at that as well if you would like. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is Wheel of Names, which I'm sure a lot of you know about. So here it is, Wheel of Names. I'm going to click on the more options here, and I'm going to get rid of this annoying pop-up like this. And here I'm going to get rid of these names like that. I'm going to go to ChatGPT, and I'm going to go back to here and go to new chat. Here we go. So I would like you to create 10 sentences practicing phrasal verbs. I would like you to remove the phrasal verb from each sentence and put 4 choices on the same line after each sentence. For example, pick up, pick out, pick in, pick through. Okay, let's see if it does that. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. First time around. Sometimes you have to ask this a few times. So I'm really pleased with that. So, and again, I could just tweak this if I wanted to, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to do. I'm going to copy that, go to Wheel of Names, and just literally paste it in like that. And now in, how long did that take? About a minute to create an activity. So the question is, can you please look after my cat while I'm on? So it hasn't got a gap. Okay. So it hasn't done it right. I need to have the gap there. So I was too confident, wasn't I? So instead of, let's just do it again. Okay. Could you please remove the phrasal verbs in bold and replace them with a gap, please? But keep the 4 possible answers on the same line after the sentence. So this is why the voice control option is so much. Yeah, that's it. That's now I've got what I wanted. Using the voice is so much quicker than writing it out each time. Can you see? So now if I go back to Wheel of Names, I've now got what I wanted, and all I have to do is do select all, paste it in, and now this is what I wanted. Okay. So as a result of that, let's wait to see which question comes up, and it's going to be this one. So they plan to something, a new business in the coming month. So would it be A, B, C, or D? And then I could then ask students to give me which letter you think it is. Feel free to put it in the chat what you think it is, A, B, C, or D. So they plan to. See, that doesn't actually make sense, does it? It should be something like start up. Hang on, they plan to set out a new business. I suppose set out it would be set aside, set down, set out, I suppose would be the answer. But again, it's not brilliant as a let's click close and spin another one. So again, this is just showing the point. I'm glad that it makes mistakes like this because it's showing the point you've got to check every single thing that it makes. Because sometimes it will give you things which aren't quite right. Right. Company wants to something, a new policy to improve employee productivity. So bring up, bring off, bring about, bring down. I suppose bring about, you would say. So again, it can give you like a starting point to think about and then change it accordingly. You get the idea. Okay. So that would be one way of using Wheel of Names. Another way is to use the following. So I'm going to go to here, go to canned replies, and I'm going to choose Wheel of Names here. And then I'm going to post this in here and we'll see yeah, perfect. So now I'm going to take the content, put it into Wheel of Names like this. Okay. And paste it in. And I'm also going to take the other, start again, take the other items here. So this would be a very simple lesson looking at opinions about foodstuffs. There we are. And then we'll spin the wheel and we'll see what comes up. So this time it's going to be, I want the students to talk about or write about food. In this case, meat, for example. So it could be, I like eating meat or whatever it might be. And then you then spin again, or you could remove that item if you want to, etc., etc. So that would be Wheel of Names, but there's also a tool. Now, this would be about soup. So maybe giving you opinions about soup, for example. There we are. There's also what's called Spin the Wheel, which is a similar tool like Wheel of Names, but this one allows you to have up to 8 wheels at the same time. So I'm going to now paste in the food items here. I'm then going to go back to ChatGPT and get the opinions again as the first column. And I go here and then here under this option, I'm going to paste in the different opinions. So now I go full screen and I click spin all. And this time, what's going to happen is I'm going to get the 2 items coming up, and you can have 8 items. So this would be, I presume, I like salad. And then you click close, and then you can then spin again. Okay, so you could use this once the result has come up. A student could say the answer or write the answer, or they could work in pairs or independently. You can also click here on the little cog and click post spin if you want to, and you can choose to have the answers appear horizontally. Can you see that? It says display results horizontally, apply settings, and now when we spin the wheel, the answers will go horizontally as opposed to vertically. So that's how that one works as well. So it looks more like a sentence. Can you see? I suppose that's I don't like soup. And you could add another wheel, another wheel, another wheel, up to 8 wheels. So another idea using ChatGPT is this prompt. If I go here and go to canned replies and go to where it says spin the wheel, and then this is for sort of sentence building. So I'm now going to, can you see that? That's worked really nicely. And I'm going to now take these 4 names here. I'm going to go back into spin the wheel, and I'm going to go to where it says new, and I'm going to paste in the names like that. Let me just paste that in. There we are. And I click add, and then go back to ChatGPT, and I choose the next one. I know these have got capital letters. If I was doing this for real, I would make sure that they were lowercase, but I'm just doing this quickly. So bear with me. There we are. Click add again. Go back to here and then here. So the idea of here is you're practicing sentence structure using spin the wheel and ChatGPT, or using the AI to generate the content. Okay, so add again. The next one is time frequency, like this. So we'll go back to spin the wheel. And then the last one, we could choose a weather option like this. Okay. So by giving it an example, it's then able to understand the format that I'm looking for. And so it can then do a good job. So that's all good. I then go to full screen and spin all. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so Liam prefers going to school during holidays when it's cold. There we are. I can then spin again, and you can spin each wheel individually as well if you prefer. Emily doesn't like playing sports on weekends when it's windy. So by using this option, it means that each sentence that you generate will make sense, although it can be a bit silly, I suppose. But you can choose any of the items in any of the wheels, and you run them all together, and they will always make a sentence. So that's how spin the wheel works. For languages, you could also have maybe the first wheel could be a subject pronoun. The next wheel could be, say, a verb or a set of infinitives. And then the next one could be maybe a tense. So you could say past tense or present tense or present continuous or whatever it might be. You could then spin each time, and then the student then has to come up with the correct conjugated form in the correct tense, for example. So just a few ideas there on combining ChatGPT with Wheel of Names and with Spin the Wheel. Okay, right, let's go back here and let's look at this one called Adobe Animate with Audio. So this one I've got here, you do need to have an account for this one. And it's very sort of obvious how it works, I think. So it's called Adobe Express Animate from Audio. You choose your character. So for example, the one I normally choose is this one, the Stardust one, which is like a unicorn. And you could then choose a background. If I click here, you can't choose your own avatar here, by the way, you have to choose from the list, but you can choose your own background. So I could choose, for example, one of these options, but I can also upload an image if I wanted to. So to show you what I mean, if I were to go to here and I were to go to another AI tool, which is called Scribble Diffusion, which I've actually got open here, actually thinking about it. You can see here that it says Scribble Diffusion, and I've got this picture of an owl, which is there by default. So I'm going to click clear, and then I'm going to write a little prompt. So I'm going to write a red house in the woods. Okay. And now I'm going to draw a red house in the woods like this. So I'm now trying to very quickly draw a house like that. So I'm at this sort of house, I'm drawing this with a mouse, which is not the easiest thing to do. And I'm drawing these are supposed to be windows. And then I'm going to draw some trees, because I did promise you a wood. And I'll do a few more trees like that. And you could obviously spend a long time doing this if you wanted to, but we're focusing on the language rather than on the ability to draw, which in my case is very handy. I could even, if I wanted to, I could add a little gate here like that. And I could add a fence. You get the idea. I'll just do a little bit more. Oh, and we'll even have a path going to the gate like that, etc. Right, then you click go, right? So the idea, it's going to match the picture with the sentence. And now what it's going to do is it's going to use AI in order to create a fantastic, hopefully, image. There you are. Can you see? How brilliant is that? Now, I did that very, very quickly. I could now right-click this and click Save Image As, like this, and click Save. And I could also click Go, and I could give it another go. Let's see what it comes up with a second time. So I can get different iterations based on my own doodle, and we'll see if that's going to work. I actually think that's better. So if I right-click that one, click Save Image As. So I just think this is a great way of being able to create a prompt for writing or for speaking. With that in mind, if I go back to Adobe Express and I click Upload Image, I can then go to my desktop and I can choose this picture here and click Open. And there it is. Can you see? So now I've got my little character here, and I can record for up to 2 minutes if I want to. I can also click on the size option if I want to, and choose square or portrait or what have you. I've gone for landscape, and now I'm going to record some audio like this. I need to give permission for my microphone. Away we go. Here we go. Okay, so this is a free tool called Animate from Audio from Adobe Express. You can record your voice for up to 2 minutes at a time per video, and you can choose one of the avatars that comes with the tool, but you can choose your own background if you want to, as well as one of the backgrounds which comes with the web tool. You can choose the format of the background image. I decided to go for a landscape option, and below here it says enhanced speech. You can enable that, which is another AI tool which allows your voice to sound even better. But because I've got a nice microphone, I don't really need it, so that's okay. So you can pause the recording if you want to reflect on what you want to then say next, and you can download the audio and video combined and then insert that into, for example, a tool like Book Creator or PowerPoint or Padlet or Google Slides, etc. So I'm going to stop just about now and show you the next idea. So it's now uploading onto the Adobe servers. It does take a little bit of time, so I might come back to this in a minute, but you get the idea. It's generating the preview, and then from there I can then download the results, and I can then insert that into whichever tool will accept video or MP4 file. So it's taking a little bit of time to this. So I don't think I'm going to wait live while it's happening, but hopefully that's nice and clear. I can see that there haven't been any more messages in the chat, but maybe there are a few more questions as well. Is it necessary to ask, can you directly give the command with an imperative sentence? Yes, you can say whatever you want, Mercedes, absolutely. So I'm just using the language which comes natural to me, but you can speak to ChatGPT however you want. Absolutely. And that's the nice thing about it. You can speak to it, at 2 o'clock in the morning if you want to, using whatever tone that you would like. And it's never angry. It's always calm. It always gives you a response. It's always available, unless it's over capacity, but that's working fine. So it's doing its business now, but I think I'm going to carry on because it will take a little bit of time. I'll come back to that in a second. So let's remind ourselves of the next idea, which is voice control for ChatGPT. Right, so I've given you a little taster of this already, but what I'm going to do now, talking about tone, is I'm going to show you how you can use voice control for ChatGPT for conversation practice. Here we go. So I would like to practice my English conversation. I'm an A1 level learner of English, and I want you to play the role of a waiter in an English cafe. I only want you to speak in English, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to reply after each question. Are you ready? Okay, so there it is. Absolutely, it's ready. And I'm now going to turn on the voice to text, text to voice option. And I'm also going to click here and show you that I've got the Google UK English Mail enabled, but I could change this to say French or Spanish, etc. And then it would read back the answers that it gives in that language. So let's give it a go. Hello, could I have a coffee and a croissant, please?
Hello. Of course, you can have a coffee and a croissant. Would you like your coffee black or with milk?
With milk, please. Thank you.
Certainly. One coffee with milk and a croissant coming right up. Anything else I can assist you with?
Yes, please. Could I have some jam with my croissant?
Of course. Exclamation mark. I'll bring you some jam to enjoy with your croissant. Your coffee with milk and croissant will be ready shortly. Is there anything else you need?
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. If you need anything else or have any more questions, feel free to ask. Enjoy your coffee and croissant.
Okay, so you can see how that worked. Now I'm going to click New Chat, and I'm going to use a prompt, which I have written myself, called Ridiculous Conversation. It's basically the same idea, but this time the waiter will give me a sensible answer and a ridiculous answer if it works. Let's give it a go. So, okay. Hello, could I have a coffee and a croissant, please?
Hello, absolutely, Do be happy to help you. Would you like a regular coffee or something like a cappuccino? And for the croissant, did you mean a croissant? We have both plain and chocolate croissants available.
Yes, a chocolate croissant will be great. And I did mean croissant. Thank you.
Great choice. With the chocolate croissant, one chocolate croissant coming up. Smile as for the croissant, I'm not sure I understand. Could you please clarify what you mean by croissant? Is it a type of drink or food item?
I don't want a song. I would like a coffee and a croissant.
My apologies for the confusion. I'll get that sorted for you. A coffee and a chocolate croissant it is. I'll prepare your order right away. Is there a particular type of coffee you'd like, such as an Americano or a latte?
Now, this is going very well, but actually it's not giving me the ridiculous answer I was expecting. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's you get the idea, but normally it gives a sensible answer and a ridiculous answer. Okay, so that's fine. So you can see how you can use, let me just mute that. You can see how you can use this particular extension for conversation practice, which I think is just great. And you can say what level you want and so on and so forth. Okay, lovely. So let's go back to here and let's go now to some ideas around reading. Right, so we're now going to go to narrow reading. I'm going to go straight to ChatGPT and I'm going to right click and go to here and go to where it says narrow reading. Now, the idea here is I want ChatGPT to create me 4 different types of text with similar structures, but slight differences in the text. As you can see here, that's what I've asked it to do in the prompt. I've also asked it to create me 5 questions based on the 4 texts that have been written. and the answers as well. Okay. I can see that we've got the question. I was going to ask the same. Can it recognize every accent in English? All I can say is just give it a go and see what you think. Okay. I can't say hand on heart whether it can do that, but just try it out and see what you think. Okay. So it's done that really well. It's been able to create the 4 texts. It's created the questions. It's created the answer key. Yeah. So that's really nice. That's a narrow reading type of activity. The next idea, I'm going to use a tool called Diffit, which is beta.diffit.me, and it allows you to write a text in, but it also allows you to put in a URL. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the BBC News website like this. Let me just put that in properly, and we'll see what comes up. So this is live on the BBC News right now, and we're going to click here. This story that's going on and on and on. I'm going to copy this link. So I'm literally just copying the link like that. I go to Diffit, and I've chosen the URL option. And now I'm going to paste that in. And here you can choose the grade. So the lowest grade is 2nd grade. So this is based on United States of America grades. And the highest grade is 11th grade. In other words, you can get Diffit to rewrite the text for different graded readers. Oh, didn't like that. Let me just try that again. Oh no, there's obviously an issue with the let me just refresh the page. That's a shame. Yeah, okay, there's obviously there's an issue around this particular tool at the moment. Let me just try one more time. I don't think it's going to work, but let me just see if I can get it to work. No, it doesn't want to work. Okay, I'll show you Twee, which is similar, twee.com. I've never known it having an outing like that, as it were. So let me quickly show you this. So let's go to let's have a look. Right. Okay. So let me go to here, for example, create multiple choice questions for a text with only one correct answer. Okay. So here I can't paste the actual URL, but I can go back to the BBC website and I can take this text like this and copy some of this text like that. Go back to Twee and paste it in like that, and then do the magic. So what it's going to do, it's going to take that text and look how quick it is that it's making multiple choice questions like this. Can you see? Amazing. It's giving you the correct answer. It's also giving you some other options, such as fill in the gap or open questions. If I click on fill in the gap, good question in the chat. Are Twee and Diffit free? Yes, they are at the moment. But who knows, it may change in the future. But at the moment, they are completely free. So if I wanted to click, for example, on different words like this, then you can see, let's just hang on, what's happening. I should be able to, it's not allowing me to, hang on, normally you just click on it to select them. Is that it? Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So that's, let me just try that again. Okay. I'm not exactly sure. It's not allowing me to select the words, but normally what you'd select the words that you want to remove as gaps. And then you then, yeah. Okay. So it's taken out two words here, but you get the idea. It's then removed certain words that you've selected as a gap fill. There we are, those 2 words there. And then again, you can do the same thing. You can create different types of activities. Okay. So a great way to save time, although doing these things live, it doesn't always work exactly to plan. Let me just go back to here and let's see if it has finished doing its wrapping up. No, I think I'm going to move on because time is of an essence. Okay, next one, word wall, close it. So here, I'm sure you know word wall and close it, but the idea here is you can save time by creating a type of text. So, for example, let me show you what I mean. Okay, so I would like you to create a gap fill exercise in A1 level English based on a funny holiday to Latin America. Okay, so there we are. It's now made a gap fill. I didn't clarify the sort of gap fill that I wanted. Maybe I wanted to have underscores instead of numbers. So I could say, for example, instead of numbers, could you use underscores, please? Okay. There we are. Now it's done that instead. Okay. I could say, for example, could you write a 70-word version of the text and remove all the verbs and replace them with underscores? Now, can you see there? It hasn't removed all the verbs. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, could you recreate the text, but with no gaps? Okay. Now it's giving me this text here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and go back to, or go to this tool called Word Wall, and I'm going to choose missing word. Okay. So you can see how quick it is using my voice. I'm now going to put in funny holiday, and I'm going to paste in the text like this. Now what it hasn't pasted the text. Let's go back here, right click, copy, go back to Word Wall, copy that, get rid of that, and then there we are. Okay, so now I'm going to double click on each individual word to remove just the verbs. And apologies if I miss one, but I am doing this live right now. Let's just say that's okay. So then click done. Okay, and here's the activity. Start, there we are, and there it is. And then all you have to do is drag and drop the right words into the right place, etc., etc. You can also click on the share option, click publish, and then share the link, and then everyone can have a go at doing the activity. Okay, so that's how that one works. You could do something similar with a tool or a Chrome extension called, a Google Docs extension called Close It. So I'm now going to quickly, let's see if I can do this now. There we are. Paste the text in. I go to the tools menu. I go to where it's, no, I don't. I go to the extensions menu. I go to add-ons like this, and I click get add-ons. Okay. There's lots of other things you can do with WordWall, because you can get it to make tables in ChatGPT and then copy and paste that into WordWall. But I just thought I'd show you the option to create a gap fill. Right. I'm now using what's called Close It, which is a free Google Docs extension. I've already installed it, so I don't need to do anything else now. All I have to do is go to the extensions menu and click Start. Okay, and then this then starts to appear. And now I'm going to double click on a word like embarked. I'm going to change the highlight color to say yellow. And then I'm going to double click on the paint format option, which means I can then go through and I can highlight any of the items that are verbs. For example, so in other words, I have complete control over what I'm highlighting here. I don't have to rely on ChatGPT. There we are. Let's say that's fine. I then click Create Worksheet with Word Bank on the right-hand side, and it's now replaced all the highlighted words with underscores, and it's put a list of all the items underneath as well. So there we are. That's worked really well. So that's called Close It, and you could either turn that into a worksheet or click the File, Download option, and download it as a Microsoft Word document if you work with Microsoft Word instead. Okay, so that's that one. And then writing, we've only got a few minutes, so I think I've already shown you Scribble Diffusion. I'm just going to show you Blockade Labs, which is a really fantastic tool, which is good for writing and speaking. I'm literally just going to write this in right now. Let me just show you. This is called Blockade Labs. You just do a search for it, you'll find it. I'm going to write a magical wood. There are 4 cottages. There are mountains in the background. I could write a lot more, but I'm running out of time. You can write up to, I think, 400 something characters. I'm using the paid for version, so you have don't have all these different options here. But the one I'm going to choose is called Storybook. Okay, and then I just I can also draw a picture if I click on the brush tool, and I can do my classic house like this. So this used to be completely free. It is still free, but you can only create 5 photos or images per month, 5 per month. So you could create your photos, and then you could then use this as a way of practicing writing or speaking. So I'm going to click generate right now. So I only use 73 characters out of 418, and it's just about to do its magic. And you're all going to go, wow, now, wherever you are in Latin America, you're all going to go, wow, this is amazing, if it works. And I can also download the results. And here we are. You ready? There we are. Look at that. You're all saying wow at home, aren't you? I know. So in other words, this would be great for writing a story, writing a poem, etc., etc., etc. Okay. So in the free version, you can only make 5 per month. You can click download it like that. You can click the share option like that. If I click download, I can also click here, the embed code. I can put the embed code into something like Book Creator, etc., etc. Okay. So that's a very, very quick look at Blockade Labs. And I'm just going to describe the other things because I'd like to have some time for Q&A. So here we've got, I was going to show you how you can put in an essay and ask ChatGPT to generate feedback. So it's very good at explaining grammatical mistakes, for example, and putting the suggestions in context. Edit GPT is a Chrome extension which allows you to proofread anything that you put into ChatGPT. You just have to install the extension, write what says proofread this, proofread this, paste your text in, and it then do its magic. QueryPod is a bit like Mentimeter meets Google Slides, so you can put in a prompt and it will create a presentation with interactive elements in it. Twee, I've given you a quick idea about, and Flippity Quiz shows another Flippity tool, and I've created a prompt which allows you to create different quizzes. So if we've got time, you've still got 7 minutes for a few questions, Lissandra, if that's okay. I'll just carry on to here. So to conclude, we've looked at what AI can do, how it can save us time, what ChatGPT can do, what large language models are, and how they most of the time give you accurate results, but sometimes come up with terrible rubbish, as I sort of demonstrated today. And for language learning, I think it's a brilliant way of leveraging and creating a whole range of different types of text with comprehension questions and answers, and saving us lots and lots and lots and lots of time. That's the idea. That's my sort of main conclusion. And now we've got a little bit of time for some Q&A. Over to you, Lissandra.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Joe. I think you can read the feedback on the chat. Everybody's like really impressed about the tools that you shared. And some of them even said that they would have to rewatch the webinar because of the amount of tools and the speed, which of course was necessary to cover as many as we could. So we have 3 questions here on the Q&A section, and maybe Marco has questions from YouTube. One of them is from Doreen, and she asked if after creating these activities, they can be used offline.
Right. So that's a good question. I mean, things like we didn't really touch on Book Creator, but you could create a PDF version of the book that you create with some of the like the images and the text, etc., which could be used as an offline PDF. But a lot of these tools do require the internet. Now, I do appreciate in Latin America there are interactivity issues, internet connection issues, but I would say that essentially everything I've shown you today would require a connection to work. I'm sorry about that. That's the brutal truth, really, to be honest.
Good. Then we have two questions that are somewhat similar from Mercedes and Sarah. Mercedes asked if the commands to the AI tools need to say or to begin with the could you, or you can ask the command directly in an imperative way.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said at the time, you can basically use any language that you want. So you can be very polite, or you could be rude, or you could just just give imperatives, and it will respond in a very calm way and always try its best to please you. I was just thinking, actually, in relation to an offline idea, if you were to download the MP4 file you make with the Adobe Express tool, that would obviously be offline. You could then run that on a computer without needing the internet connection. But I think everything else I showed would require it. Yeah.
Good. Sarah, the second half of that question, asks if you could, she's surprised about ChatGPT usage for practicing speaking, and if you could include a command in which the ChatGPT also corrects your pronunciation, or it just won't understand and say repeat again or stuff.
Yeah, so it doesn't really correct the pronunciation as such. What it will do is it will turn because what it's doing is it's turning your voice into text. So it will, if you make a grammar mistake, see again, in other examples I've given in other workshops, I can put in a prompt and I can say, I want ChatGPT to play the role of a tutor who will then give me feedback based on what I've said. I can then use my voice and I can make deliberate mistakes, and it will then say, actually, you don't say that because you need to use the correct regular verb, the regular past participle. It's not irregular, or vice versa. So it will give you feedback based on the text that you produce, but it won't give you feedback directly around the pronunciation. But if you were to use Immersive Reader, then or the reading coach, which I didn't have time to show today, and that's part that you have to have an Office 365 subscription for that. But if you had that, you could use the reading coach to read the text back to you using Immersive Reader, but also you can then read the text and it will then give you advice on the words you need to work on. So that's one way in which you could use, and that's also using AI, but it's that would be one way of practicing your pronunciation. But using the voice control for ChatGPT, I don't think it's giving you suggestions on the pronunciation. It's just, unless in the sense that if it's not understanding what you're saying, as it were, and it's not making a good, it's not able to transpose what you're saying well, then that is a type of way of testing your pronunciation, but it's not going to give you feedback about your pronunciation yet. But who knows in the future? I mean, Audio Pen I talked about, that's just an amazing way of producing a summary and a transcript. So you could use that and then look at words which haven't been understood and suggest that those are words we need to work on for our pronunciation practice.
Thanks, Joe. I think we have to go through a couple more and then.
Of course, yeah, I'm more than happy to.
Yeah, one quick question. Can Google Bard do the same stuff as ChatGPT?
So I haven't had a chance to have a huge play with Google Bard, but my understanding is, certainly from the point of view of putting in prompts, getting answers back, I'm sure it can do lots of similar things, but I've decided to focus on ChatGPT and all the fantastic extensions that you get with ChatGPT. There is a tool called Maxi.ai. Maxi.ai is an extension which sort of allows you to use not only ChatGPT, but also Bard built in on anything that you use it for. So any page where you want to input text or analyze text, you can enable it so it will use Bard and Claude as well, which is a similar type of tool. But I haven't had a chance to explore all of these things. I've just focused on ChatGPT. But I would imagine the answer is yes, but you'd have to have a play with it and work out what it does well and what it doesn't do as well.
Good. I think there's one more question here that actually asks something very specific, which is, after creating these activities from Noelia, can we share them with our online students, or do they need to have the extensions downloaded on their computers?
So if you're talking about sharing the text that it produces, then it's fine.
And the content, I think, yes.
So that's fine. If you want the students to practice their conversation, for example, then they would need to use that either the extension I talked about, or with Audio Pen, they would just need the tool. There's also an extension, actually, I forgot to show you. There's an Audio Pen Chrome extension which allows that to sort of sit in the browser. But I mean, you've seen the presentation, you can see the sort of things that you would need for that to work. But most of the time, unless I'm using a specific extension, I'm just really using a prompt I've written and putting it into ChatGPT essentially. So so to me, for a language teacher, the best way of using ChatGPT is for creating resources more easily and more quickly. And then there's a whole new issue around if students are going to be using it for practicing it independently, and if they would need to be 13 or above officially, and they would need to have parental permission. And if they're going to create an account, they need to put a mobile phone number in order to create the account. And so if they're under the age of, say, 18, then there could be some safeguarding issues around that that you need to be careful of. So you need to make sure you adhere to the school policy about the use of AI and ChatGPT in particular.
Good. Joe, we have 3 more, but I really think that we can go through these ones quite quickly. So we then go to the last slide. How many audios can you record with free audio pen? Do you know that?
So you can make as many audios as you want to, but you can make up to 10 notes in the free account. But you can always copy the text it produces and then just copy and paste it somewhere else, and then just keep using it forever if you want to.
Okay, that's good. Then suggestions about creating prompts. This could be quite wide, but I think you went through the examples here.
So I think with the prompt, you need to think about what the role is you want ChatGPT to play or the AI to play. You need to be as specific as possible with what you are asking. You need to describe the location or the context carefully, but not including personal information about individual students. And then I would go from there. I forgot to mention as well, I've created a Facebook group as well, which you may be interested in joining, which I've got a link to a bit later on. Called Language Teaching with AI, Language Teaching with AI. And if people want to join, then you'd be more than welcome. And in fact, if you scan this QR code right now, you'll get access not only to that, but also to some other resources which I've created. If you'd be interested in me people watching this asking me to do other training on technology or AI, what have you. But the Facebook group, I've created a number of different questions and some rules. So if you want to join, please answer the questions and agree to the rules, because I'm trying to avoid spam, etc. in the group. There's already 1,700 members of that group, all wanting to talk about these sorts of issues around teaching languages with AI.
Good. Joe, last one. What would be your main advice for a newcomer into using these kind of AI tools?
I think just having a play, really. I think having a play, and also if you go to my YouTube channel, which is @JoeDale, so youtube.com @JoeDale, you'll see that there are, I think it's 4 so far, 4 webinars, which I've helped to organize for the Association for Language Learning, whereby I've been the host as opposed to the presenter. And there's been, we've had a number of different presenters talking about different ways of using AI tools and mostly ChatGPT. So as a starting point, I would watch some of those. I'd watch this recording back. I'd have a bit of a play, really, and just see how you get on. You know, have a play with creating a few prompts, asking ChatGPT to generate a few types of exercise. If you're not sure about anything, you know, ask it to play the role of let's say a teacher who wants to design some content based on a particular subject. I mean, it's very good at creating lesson plans. You could just say, I want you to create a lesson plan based on this topic aimed at this age of learner, etc., and just see what it creates.
Great. Thank you very much, Joe. I think we can go to the next slide and then just wrap it up.
Yep, no problem.
Excellent. So for the rest, everybody who's here, you know that this amazing webinar by Joe Dale has been brought to you by British Council EnglishScore. We are the first and only mobile English test that uses artificial intelligence both for scoring and security. And you can scan those QR codes according to where you have an Android mobile phone or an Apple, an iOS mobile phone. You can scan any of those 2 QR codes there, download the app, take the test, and use that code to redeem your certificates, Joe-Dale-Latam, and you will get the free certificate for 4 skills. We're going to send this anyway, and you're going to have a follow-up email with this information too for participating. But you can actually do this and get it ASAP. just by taking our exam. Just friendly reminder, it is a test. So even though you are going to be doing it through your mobile phone, you gotta put yourselves into an exam mode. Okay, Joe, one quick reminder about the Facebook group name again.
Yeah, language teaching with AI. And the background image I'm using right now is the main photo at the top of the page. Language teaching with AI is the name of the group.
Great. So we're going to be sending the presentation, and you're going to get an email. There's no link for the test. It's not online. It's not web-based. It's app-based. So you've got to download the application to your mobile phone. But we're going to be sending all of this anyway. So don't worry. You're going to receive it later today or maybe first thing tomorrow morning. But you're going to have all the information, and also a recording of this webinar will be shared. Joe, I don't know if you want to say anything else.
Just thank you so much to everyone coming along today and all your fantastic questions. And I'd love to stay in touch and chat with people more about what we've done today. I'm sorry I ran out of time to show you the cow video or the unicorn video, which I was trying to show you, but it does take a little bit of time to render, but you get the idea. You'll have to have a play with it yourselves and see what it can produce. But it's amazing. It's fantastic. Great for practicing.
Great. Thank you very much, Joe. This has been very enlightening. And thank you, Martina, for being there. And you're going to receive everything. So thanks to all of you for also participating and being so active during this webinar. Have a good day. Bye-bye.